Hey guys, I just wanted to give you an update, sort of a 2011 year in review, and I'm also going to do sort of a preview for 2012, what I have coming up. So 2011 was a year I wasn't really sure what I was going to be up to. At the beginning I thought, I'm going to play Ultimate just like I have every other year, and it turned out to be a little, well, quite a bit different than what I had expected. I actually was contacted by an Ultimate team in Mexico, and basically I was flown to Mexico I was there for about 9 days. I was teaching them, so about 4 hours a day. It was amazing. I got to see the pyramids, I got to see cactus gardens, I got to see La Peña, which is the world's third largest boulder. Got to climb up that. Got to hang out with a bunch of Mexican Ultimate players who were just all amazing guys. A lot of them were actually 17, 18 years old, so it was just like I was coaching juniors, which was awesome. What else did I do there? Oh, the World Cup of Soccer was there, so I got to watch a couple games, under 18, really good soccer. Yeah, well, that was what I got up to in Mexico, and then, so that was in June of this year, and in July, I actually drove to Colorado, Fort Collins, Colorado, which is about 17 hours from where I am, and competed in the 2011 WFDF World Overall Flying Disc Championships. This is one of the discs we got from it. So this is actually a freestyle disc. This is called a Sky Styler. So this is an Ultimate disc. So they look very similar, but this is much deeper. So for freestyle, you can actually spin it much easier on your finger. Whereas the Ultimate disc isn't as easy to spin. This is obviously, the Ultimate disc is meant for throwing, more so than the freestyle disc is. What else did I use? So I also got to use the Condor. This is an Innova disc. This is what I used for MTA and TRC. So self-caught flight, so basically you throw it up in the air and you have to catch it with one hand. So this is what I used for those. Also used golf discs. So one of the days competed in disc golf, so there was 72 players, and essentially there was 7 events. So I left on a Friday, got into Colorado on the Sunday, and competed in distance self-caught flight, which was, like I mentioned, the maximum time loft and the throw and catch. I also competed in accuracy, and I'm actually building an accuracy target here, if you can see. So it's built out of PVC pipe, and it's actually quite big. So it's a lot bigger close up. When we compete, we actually throw from 15, 25, and 35 meters away. So the target may seem big close, but when you get far away, it's much tougher. So in building this, I also have got a shipment of discs in. So these are the Innova Zephyrs that I use for accuracy. These are great discs. You can see they're a bit flatter than an Ultimate disc is. And these are actually an approved PDGA golf disc. So some people actually carry these in their golf bag when they play disc golf. They're great discs, and Innova actually sent me 40 of them. I just got 40 today, and I had 10 before, so now I have 50 of these. I'll take a picture, something to show you. Great discs. So Innova, I guess, talk a little bit more about them later, who they are, what they do, and my involvement with them. So at Worlds, I also competed in Discathon. And Discathon, basically, you're running a kilometer, you have 3 discs. I used Ultimate discs. Some guys used the Zephyrs. I didn't like them because they're too flat, so it's an obstacle course, essentially. What they do is they'll map out this course, like I said, over about a kilometer, and then they draw a line through the course, an imaginary line through the course. The disc has to follow that line. So you don't necessarily have to run that path, but the disc has to. So, there's guys throwing a disc, rolling it around a tree, they go and they pick it up and they keep running. For me, I just threw a lot of short throws and ran, because I didn't really know how to do the rollers that well, and those guys have been doing it for years. So for me, I ran, just missed making finals on that, so that was fun. Double disc court was another event, and for that we use these discs. So they're much lighter than an Ultimate disc. and they're a lot smaller, right? So they're fair bit smaller. And double discord, if you've never heard of it, it's also called DDC. Fantastic game to play. If you look at, an ultimate game in a tournament, you're playing maybe 7 games. In a DDC tournament, I guess in one day you could be playing 7 games as well, except there's only 2 people. It's 2-on-2. So it's like 2-on-2 volleyball. It's a lot of back and forth. And I have some video on my channel. I'll post some more video. But you're basically getting, you could say 10 times the amount of throws. So you're working on your throws. It's a fantastic way to work on your throws, work on your catching, work on your action time. And I'm actually going to start bringing this out to the ultimate community in Calgary as more of a cross-training sport for ultimate players. So that's something I want to bring here. It's also the advantage for me because when I compete in overall competitions, DDC is one of the events, so I need to get better at DDC. What better way than to bring it to ultimate players? What was the other event? Oh, and freestyle. So I'm not very good at freestyle yet. One of the things. So, body roll. I'm working on the body roll. Right. I'm actually going to I'll talk about that soon. I'm going to a freestyle clinic in January. But anyway, freestyle was one of the events. So there were 7 events. I think those are all the events. I don't think I missed any. Yeah, so 7 events. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. It was amazing. As you've seen a lot of the videos I had, so John Kirkland, Dan Roddick, Stork. I also have Jack Cooksey, who many-time world champion. Chris Max Voigt, who has the video on distance throwing, so he's one of the best distance throwers in the world. I also have a video coming out with Jim Palmieri, who was one of the originators of disc golf, and he's been throwing since the 60s. So he talks about the evolution of the Frisbee, where the Frisbee first started, how it came about, and he's writing a book on it soon. And I'm actually lucky enough to be, I guess, one of the drafters on that book. So he sent me a couple chapters already. It's going to be a good book. So I'm really excited for that to come out. That was in July, and then in September, actually before September, so in August, I went to a Western qualifier for the Skyhoundz World Championship. So Skyhoundz is an organization. Hyperflight is a company that makes discs for dogs. So this is a dog disc. It's much smaller than an ultimate disc. Right, quite a bit smaller. And this disc is about 70 grams lighter. So an ultimate disc is about 175 grams. This is about 105 grams. Much lighter. But at the Western qualifier, one of the events is called extreme distance. Basically, you throw the disc as far as you can, and the dog has to catch it. So I actually set a world record in the classic, which is 109 grams. Set a world record in that, 92 yards. Almost longer than an ultimate field. Ultimate field's 7 yards. So imagine standing in the back of one end zone, and you're throwing to the front of the far end zone, and the dog catches it. So that was a lot of fun. I qualified for the distance, and then I went to Tennessee in September, competed in the extreme distance event there, and actually ended up winning. So world champion. That actually gave me this, which is pretty cool. How well you can see that, but it's Hyperflight Skyhoundz Extreme Distance World Canine Disc Championship. So yeah, that's something I didn't really expect at the beginning of last year to be, world champion in this distance, and it's the first year they've had it, so I'm actually the first Canadian to ever win the extreme distance at the World Championship, so I was pretty excited about that. And I got to compete with my friend Lara's Whippet named Davey, and just an amazing dog. He's incredibly fast, actually really chill, so he likes to run, and then he just likes to lay down and chill, so great dog. That was in September. And then in November, I got an email from a lady named Kathy in Beijing, and she invited me over to China to attempt a Guinness World Record on TV. And the Guinness World Record was most number of targets hit in 1 minute with a flying disc. I went to Beijing November 30th to December 4th and attempted it on the TV show. and unfortunately didn't get the record. The record doesn't exist, but Guinness set a minimum of 20 targets, so I hit 16. It was close, and I'm basically going to be reattempting that in a couple weeks. So the reason that Innova sent me all these discs, so that's what 51 Innova Zephyrs look like. So mostly white and yellow. There's some red ones in there. So yeah, like I mentioned, I'm going to be reattempting the world record in a few weeks. The Guinness World Record. And so the world record that I have for dog disc at the qualifier was for Skyhoundz. It wasn't a Guinness record. And I will be attempting 2 more world records in probably about a month and a half in February, and it's actually going to be on ice. So I talked about the maximum time aloft and throw, run, catch. So it's going to be those world records. And I'm actually going to be using either the Condor or this Frisbee fastback. So when you hear people talk about a Frisbee, this is not a Frisbee, this is a disc. Right? It's made by Innova. They make golf discs, they make dog discs. Okay, they don't make this, which is actually made by Whammo. So this is actually called Frisbee. Right, so you can see it actually says Frisbee on here. So Whammo owns the copyright. There's Whammo right there. So Whammo actually owns the trademark on the name Frisbee. So this is actually a Frisbee. It's called a Frisbee fastback. It's very light. Very light disc again. It's smaller than an Ultimate disc. So for the world record, I'm either going to be using the Condor or the Frisbee fastback. All depends on the wind. And I've already talked to Guinness, so that will be going for WFDF world record. WFDF stands for the World Flying Disc Federation. But talking to Guinness, they said if I get the WFDF record, then I can talk to them. And so hopefully in a few months I'll have 3 Guinness World Records, which would be super exciting for me. A couple other things coming up. I'm also going to be doing a demo video on this. It's a travel roller. You might be familiar with, this is a regular roller. So travel roller is much smaller. Really good for rolling out your IT band, rolling out your back, rolling out your hamstring, your calves. And a good buddy of mine who's a great personal trainer will actually be helping me with the video for that. I'm also going to do a video on the bongo board. So this is by another one of my sponsors, Fitter First. So they sell the bongo board. It's basically like, sort of like a skateboard. You put this down and you work on your balance. I'm not very good at it yet. I'm working on it, but it's great for the core. It's great for the balance. Great for developing stability. And this also is from Fitter First, who, as I mentioned, is one of my sponsors. I'm also going to be going to Ontario and hopefully traveling to New Brunswick to run a couple of dog throwing clinics. So I'm teaching dog people how to throw Frisbee better for their dog, to get better distance, better accuracy, that kind of stuff. I will be traveling there with, where are my dogs? So I will be going with these. So this is the Hero disc. This is made by Innova as well. They own Hero Disc USA. So they make, this is the 235 series, so it's distance, it's very grippy. And then this is called the Super Swirl. So some people like this disc. They're roughly the same, you know, weight-wise. Again, smaller than an Ultimate disc, right? Lighter than an Ultimate disc. But these are meant for dogs. So they're not heavy, they're not sharp. So if you look at like the Condor, it's a pretty sharp disc for a dog to catch. If you look at, so this is what I use, one of my discs I use for distance, the R Pro Boss. I also use the Katana. I love the Katana. So this is by Innova as well. This disc, they go really far. Love throwing these discs, but imagine a dog trying to catch these. It's not so good. Right, very sharp, would cut their gums up. I mean, it would be easy way to set a record by throwing one of these Current world record for dog catching a disc is about 130 yards. And so that's something I want to go after as well. I want to go after that record. And I believe that record is held with a fastback. So I'm gonna practice. I'm hopefully gonna be throwing the Hero. To get this disc to go 135 meter or 130 yards is tough. These discs are not meant to go that far. So you need a really good wind, tons of snap. So I'm gonna be practicing that a lot. I might be able to use the Condor. Again, this is pretty hard disc compared to these. All right, so this disc more bendable. This disc doesn't really bend at all. So it's, I prefer throwing this for dog, but again, because I'm going after the world record for distance, I prefer to use a disc that actually goes that far. But yeah, you got to care about how the dog feels, right? You don't want to cut their gums up and hurt them. I'm also going to, like I mentioned, in January I am going to LA, Los Angeles, California, for those of you who aren't from US or Canada and don't know where that is. And I'm going for a freestyle clinic. So one of the events in overall championships is freestyle, and you can lose a lot of points, gain a lot of points on your competition in freestyle depending on how you do. Last year was my first time doing freestyle. Wasn't really that good. I didn't really have a lot of tricks. We usually wear fake nails for it because trying to spin a disc not on nails is pretty tough. Like, with practice you can do it, but it's much easier with fake nails. And you also you want to grease a Frisbee up so your fingers don't catch the underside of the plastic as much. But anyway, I'm going to LA for a couple days for a freestyle clinic to get better at freestyle. And then I'm going to be competing in an overall disc competition in Virginia, which I believe is in April. Yes, April. So Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is close to Washington, D.C. I've never been to either place, so I'm really excited for that. Probably going to fly into Washington. And I'll get to see all my friends again, so I'll compete. I believe this one doesn't have one of the events. I think it has disc golf, discathon. Oh, and another thing about that actually too, I'm not allowed to use the Condors, unfortunately, for the self-caught flight. So I'm going to have to use these ones. I'm going to have to use the Frisbee fastback. So just the way that they do it. I'm not really sure why. I prefer using these. They get more penetration. You can throw these further. So for me, I love just bombing it in the air and chasing after it. These ones don't go as far, but they float a lot more. So once you get really good at these, generally they just go up and come back like a boomerang. The world record was actually set with one of these, with an older mold. I have one of them in the car. I don't have it here, but yeah. So these are good discs. It's all about the wind, all about learning how to use the wind, and it's pretty cool what you can do. What you can do with a disc once you learn how to throw it in the wind. And yeah, just quickly give you a little show of some of the discs I have in my house. So in a lot of my videos you've seen the wall. I'll give you a little tour of the wall soon. This is one of my stack of discs. So I have, these are my ultimate discs. So you guys are always asking in videos if you can have some. That's pretty much all the ultimate discs I have. Actually, one of the really cool discs I have is the flashlight. So the flashlight actually glows in the dark. Well, it doesn't glow in the dark, it actually just shines up, right? All the LED lights. So there's just a little switch on the bottom. You can turn it on. Right, it just operates by battery. Turn it off, there you go. So it's similar to an ultimate disc in shape. Right, very similar. The only thing about that is it does have that on the other side, so when you're trying to catch it, sometimes your fingers catch on that. I have a bunch of, so these are my distance discs. So I have a bunch of Art Pro Bosses, which are great distance discs. I have some Discraft Nukes that I've thrown a little bit, but when I compete I use the Katanas. So I have, the Art Pro Katana. Love that disc. So you can see the numbers. So really high speed, the 13. I get a lot of spin when I throw discs. I want a disc that has a high speed because I get so much spin on it. Here's some dog discs. Here's some DDC discs. Here's another type of disc. So this is one of the discs I set the world record with. So you can see it's kind of rubbed off, but it's 106 grams. I actually had to weigh it. These are some of my minis. This is one of the ones I got. Larry Imperial, amazing freestyler. Gave that to me at Worlds. These are mini flashlights that we got at Worlds. So on this, you just push the bottom, lights up. Very cool. These are little minis, and we use these to actually mark our discs when we play. So it's just like in golf, you have a ball marker. In disc golf, you have a little mini. The Right Life, this is where I buy a lot of my discs from. See, give you the website there, rightlife.com. They have everything you can imagine. This is one of the cool things I bought this year as well. So when I do distance, I actually have to measure, obviously, how far I throw. And it's very difficult to just pace it out because it's not very accurate, and if you don't throw it, perfectly straight. So what I actually bought was a rangefinder. Doesn't look like much, just looks like binoculars. That's $250, so it's not cheap. So anybody who tells you that disc sports are cheap probably just have one disc and they're playing in a backyard. And once you actually get into disc sports, it costs quite a bit, traveling, equipment, things like that. So here is the pipe, the PVC pipe for the accuracy target. And then I still have some more pipe I have to cut. So here's a quick little tour of my disc wall. So this was a team I played at in 2003, the Canadian Ultimate Championships, called Jerk Factory. So they're from the Maritimes. I grew up in the Maritimes in New Brunswick, which is in Canada on the East Coast, just north of Boston, New York. And yeah, we won Spirit actually at Nationals, Best Spirit. So we had a lot of fun. People enjoyed playing us, so they actually gave us a disc with our picture on it. This is actually the first disc I ever bought. This was way back when I was in Woodstock. So this disc is, let's see, 10 and a half years old, I guess. A little beat up. You can see there's some marks on it. All right. So it's had its fair share of play. It's been a good disc. Then, as I said earlier, the disc from Worlds when I went to the Canine Disc Championships. This is a disc that I got at the World Overalls this year. The 2011 WFDF World Overall Flying Disc Championships in Fort Collins. So WFDF, great organization. They govern all disc sports in the world. This is a disc I got when I joined the PDGA this year. So I give that to everybody. And then of course the Condor that I use for my MTA and TRC. These are minis. So in each of them there's 50 of them. So these are like I said, the little minis. Alright. This is, I guess, the announcement of my first ever contest. So I'm going to give away 20 mini discs. One per person. And I will randomly select them from, let's see, 20 minis into a disc golf. If you tell me what your favorite moment is thus far in playing any sort of disc sport, so whether it's ultimate, whether it's disc golf, whether it's dog disc, whether it's just throwing on your own, what your favorite moment is so far playing any disc sport. And yeah, comment below the video, send me an email, however you want to do it. One mini disc per person that I choose, there's 20 of them. So that'll be my first ever contest. Awesome, I'm very excited. As far as announcements go, I think that's pretty much it for now. Always working on stuff, always trying to give you guys what you want, working on articles, working on videos. Trying to do my best to come up with them. Canada, it's tough. We have snow right now, so for me to go out in a field where it's nice and green and give you something isn't going to happen. Trying to get some indoor gym space for you. I do have a bunch of throwing videos people have asked for. A lot of people actually have asked for an air bounce flick. So I have a friend of mine who does that. I'll try and get him on video. I'm working with the Calgary men's team, who I think they're called the Ghosts this year, and Keely, totally gonna butcher your last name, Keely Dintz, I think it's Dintz. Keely Dintz from Riot. She's doing a project this year where she wants to become the best Ultimate player she can, and she's phenomenal talent. I've talked to her quite a bit through email, through Skype, and I've seen some videos of hers, some pictures, and I can just tell she's an incredible talent, very passionate about the game of Ultimate, wants to share it with everybody. So we're actually going to meet up to do some throwing. So I'm going to help her baseline her throwing just like Tim Worrell's doing with her athletic skills. I'm going to work with her on her throwing ability and baseline her throwing, and then a few months later meet up with her again, see how she's done, and hopefully work with Seattle Riot as well on do some throwing with them, and go to Seattle and visit her. So that's coming up the end of January, beginning of February. Very excited for that to happen. What else? I think that's pretty much it. This video's long, very long. Rambled on long enough. It's been a while since I posted a video of myself, so I just wanted to give you guys an update. Thank you so much for subscribing and following me, asking questions, everything like that. So thanks again for your support. Hope you had an amazing 2011. I hope your 2012 is planned to be amazing as well. Remember, Ultimate, for me at least, was all about the throwing. So everything I do is all about throwing, and that's why I have so many different types of discs. That's why I don't just do Ultimate. I also do disc golf. I do dog disc. I do MTA, TRC, Discathon, Freestyle, DDC, Guts, everything like that. So thanks guys for checking me out, and I hope you have a very, very happy and safe New Year's.